Hi, Anthony Viljoen here, CEO of Andrada Mining, formerly AfriTin Mining. We're developing tin and lithium in Namibia, and we're well on the way to early production.
Anthony, good to see you.
Good to see you, mate.
You're over here for Benchmark Minerals, Indaba, one-to-one. Everyone's here from Africa, right?
Everyone's here from Africa. Good.
Fantastic.
It's great to see good energy again this year, which is always good to judge.
Yeah, and now we're looking for that share price reaction from the markets. 2020 sucked.
Yeah.
Seems a bit of enthusiasm and hope for this year, and everyone's in town. They're going to talk about how they go about doing it. I'm interested in seeing what you're going to be focused on this year. You had put a good announcement up in terms of the resource, 30% up.
Yeah.
Nice, great.
Fantastic.
Market went.
Yeah, it is a bit disappointing because it is significant. I mean, it places us as one of the top lithium resources in the world in terms of size.
Yeah.
And you know, we also upgraded the grade.
Yeah.
You know, so what we're finding is that the further down we're going in the pit, the better the grade, which obviously helps the economics. So I mean, you know, it's really nothing bad. It's all pretty good out there.
It's all good, but like here's the thing I think what people want to understand is, okay, because you've kind of segued, we haven't segued away from tin. Tin's still, in fact, let's talk about the tin.
Yeah.
Because you've upgraded the plant now, right?
Yes.
So what have been the benefits, effects of doing that?
So look, I mean, you know, the whole point of upgrading the plant was to show the benefits that you get from economies of scale,
right,
and better efficiencies through the gravity circuit.
And did you?
And yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
You know, unit costs are down to about $18,000 now, from about $22,000.
Okay.
So it's significant. You know, tin market's been very bullish over the last couple of months. So
right,
you know, revenue, we're making money. You know, not a lot of juniors ever get to that point.
It's true, but it was always. But the thing is of a certain size. It was small, right? So I know you've done the upgrade. It's great in terms of throughput, in terms of economies of scale, and that's nice. But it's always been small. Lithium's been the big upside for you. So what can you take from the tin operation, which will still continue? To bring into the lithium side of the equation now? Yeah,
so look, I mean, essentially what's going to happen is we'll end up producing the lithium for free, really, because you're going to have a polymetallic plant. You're going to be processing both materials, including tantalum on a smaller scale. We also announced a rubidium resource, which is quite interesting. So, you know, it just highlights the real sort of benefit of these pegmatites. You know, they're traditionally intruded with a number of different elements, and we're finding that with all these different elements, you can get different revenue streams while still having the economies of one plant and one mining operation.
Right. Okay. So I think we've spoken a couple of times. What I've taken away is you guys know how to mine. You guys know how to build and process. That team is still there. In fact, you've added to the team a bit since.
Absolutely, and that's what people don't really see is we've got a really strong, sort of ambitious team now,
right,
that's capable of executing large-scale projects. So we can do it.
Right, and the point is, you make money with that. So money-wise, and money gives you is a wonderful thing because it leaves a lot of pressure and gives you optionality, right?
Exactly.
But so again, I'm just thinking as a retail shareholder looking at this thing going, well, you're going to take all the money you make there and plow it into this lithium thing.
Yes.
Why?
Well, because you know, lithium is huge. So you've got to imagine it that this is the bonanza. You know, this is really, I don't know what other analogy I can use. Maybe the cherry on top of the cake. Right. But I mean, you know, this unlocks huge value. So you're going to, and especially because the size of what we've got is really significant for the end users. You know, in China and in Europe. You know, everyone needs lithium. There's so much interest in the lithium. It is hard to actually convey to people.
But it is hard because we've seen a lot of developers over the past couple of years talk about getting into production, and they're struggling to get into production. They're struggling to actually finance. Demonstration plants, you know, let alone pilot plants, let alone demonstration plants, let alone, you know, commercial plants. So
100%.
It is harder. I understand it, and obviously lithium's doing quite well in terms of price the last 18, 24 months. But how do you insert yourself into that ecosystem? Because you're going to need to talk about raising capital to advance the project forward. So I'm interested, like I say, what does this year look like in terms of actually moving? Because you talked about it for me for 3 years.
Yes,
potential.
So the key was obviously delivering the resource. Now the next big item will be the bulk testing facility. That will allow us to produce enough.
Bolted onto the current plant.
Not initially, but because we want to run test campaigns, get enough material to give to the off-takers so that they can test it for their refining process. So that's going to be a key thing, and that obviously then unlocks the off-take agreement, which is probably the most valuable thing that you can own.
But how do let's go back to something you said. You said you get the lithium for free. So if it's not associated with the current plant infrastructure, OpEx, etc., why is it for free?
Well, because the tin, you're getting the credits from the tin revenue. So, so the tin revenue basically pays for the plant, makes a decent profit.
Right. Okay.
But then you add your lithium circuit on to the existing facility.
Right. That's what I was getting to.
And then anything that comes out of the lithium circuit is basically just cream on top, really.
So any kind of whatever cap, because it's a smaller capex, whatever capex allocated that is paid back relatively quickly. So therefore, I've got to ask a question about the scale of the ambition here. How much lithium? How much production, sales? What are we looking at?
Yeah, look. I mean, it's a little bit too early to tell. But I mean, the resource, as I said, is there. Ultimately, we want to look at production of 45,000 tons of lithium carbonate equivalent on an annual basis. So, but we've still got a few steps to get there.
Because that's really important for people to understand. Because so far, the history of AfriTin, we'll change names.
Andrada.
We'll talk about it in a minute. AfriTin's history was small scale, right?
Yeah.
It didn't have the ability to scale up, or to have the ambition to scale up, or it timed the market wrong, didn't have access to capital, for whatever reason. It's had a small operation.
Yeah.
The lithium thing could change that for you if you have the intent.
Dramatically, yes, absolutely. And look, financing. What people also don't realize that for a junior miner to get bank financing is very unique. So we've already got financial partners in Standard Bank, Development Bank of Namibia, Orion.
Is that over the line yet?
It's nearly there. They're working on an inter-creditor agreement.
Okay.
So it's just and 3 sets of lawyers.
Yeah, that's.
I can't really say much more than that, but they're plugging away at it.
Lawyers are the best.
Yeah.
No. Say that now.
I don't want to say anything bad.
No, don't.
But
okay, so that's nearly over the line. So it is difficult for juniors, and certainly sub 100 million level. It's kind of difficult territory.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. Is I get the kind of for free bit and how you're framing that.
Yes.
So with the cash that's coming out at the moment, you're kind of good. There's no dilutive exercise coming up anytime soon for you guys. But what do you do with that cash this year? What are the moments? We used to talk about catalysts when it mattered, and hopefully it will matter again in 2023. So what are they?
No. Well, look. I mean, so the as I said, the initial one, resource upgrade, and getting it into
another.
No. So getting it into a measured and indicated.
Got it,
okay. So because that basically banks the resource, because you can output an economic value and onto your financial model, and then the next catalyst is getting the bulk testing facility up, or the pilot facility, so we can run some campaigns, so that we can get enough material for the off takers, and then the big one is getting an off take. So it's something I'm keeping very close to my chest at this stage, but there's a lot of interest in lithium offtake from everybody.
It's sort of, you're in an interesting sort of twilight zone in a way, because you are a producer, right? And you are a cash flowing company. You haven't mentioned economic studies here because you feel that at some point you're going to have to, or you don't need to yet.
No,
you're talking about offtakes, and testing, and how does it work?
So look, I mean, the operations are basically a living, breathing feasibility study. So off the back of that, we'll produce a bankable feasibility study for the banks.
Tough to do that.
But it's based off existing parameters. Now, my problem, as I've always said with modern mining, is everybody mines on a spreadsheet these days, and nobody actually goes and digs holes.
Yeah, it's harder.
And it's a lot harder. And so we've done it the old school way.
Yeah.
You know, we've gone and understood our ore body. You know, we've got to grips with it, and then you can take those numbers and put that into a financial model, and then you've got a much better understanding of what the economics look like, and a much more confidence in putting those numbers out.
And see, that's really important to understand.
Yeah.
Because most people, there's a process that all companies are going to go through.
Yeah.
Aspiration through to development. You know, so people expect you to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
The order of play has changed somewhat.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, have you started conversations with potential off-takers who want to test?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
So where in the world are they?
Well, there's been a lot of incoming unsolicited approaches, so you know, we'll probably look to see who can offer us the best deal.
But the normal name of the game here is like you have, I don't know, you 10, 20, 30 people who kind of test the product and go, this is good for us.
Yeah.
Right? And then the company whittles it down to the types of off-takers which suit you guys.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah.
So is there a kind of African component to this, in the sense that you prefer people from Europe versus Asia? I mean, how's it?
Look, so from a technology point of view, our key takeaway is that we want to look to where the product's ultimately going to go from a downstream perspective. So most of that technology currently resides in China. Okay, the Chinese are just streaks ahead of the rest of the world in terms of converting lithium concentrate.
What are we talking about selling here?
A concentrate. Initially a concentrate, but that's why, you know, if we can partner up with a technology partner, so that has offtake as well as the capability of potentially even putting a downstream facility in Namibia, that's something that we'll look at.
You'll capture more margin.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So you know, and Europe and North America still currently don't have any conversion facilities for lithium. But they're waking up, and there is a massive realization how far behind the curve they are, and what the impact that could potentially have on their car and industrial manufacturing businesses.
Right, and so let's put a sort of layer of sort of reality over this for people, in case people get too excited or not excited enough. Which is, you tell us what you're going to look at. So resource update, bringing more into M&I.
Yes.
Fine.
Yeah.
And you continue to look at the grade component.
That's right.
The facility to allow you to be able to give bulk samples for testing elsewhere.
That's right.
How long does that process take in terms of the bulk testing process?
Look, it's probably in about 6 months or so.
6 months or so.
Yeah,
okay, not too shabby.
And because we are still doing a lot of lab work, we also expanding. So remember, we were only mining the V1, V2 pit. So we've now converted all of the other drilling data into an inferred resource. So drilling's going to continue indefinitely. So there's going to be a lot of drilling, drilling results and a lot of upgrading of this resource. We know it's there because we've got all the historic data, but in order to confirm it for the banks, we're going to need to.
Right. So kind of getting onto the scale side of things, I'm more interested in the kind of commercial line, to where we get to dollars.
Yeah.
Which is right. So six months of production and testing process. Say 6 to 9 months for that testing process.
Yes.
The then kind of whittling down to who you partner with and what that looks like and what the offtakes look like, and how much cash now versus later, and how much security they can provide, or balance sheet assistance they can provide. How long does that process take?
Well, look, I mean, that will happen concurrent with the plant. So the end step for them will be once we've completed the plant, they can then take that material and. No,
they can take it. But I'm trying to say how much assistance you get before, because you're going to want cheaper money.
Exactly.
And that comes with contracts.
Yeah.
Hopefully binding.
Exactly. Yeah. So look at that process can happen concurrently.
Okay.
So I mean, part of some of these unsolicited offers are basically like, here's money now. But obviously it's more.
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different. Yeah.
The exciting big offers aren't necessarily the best offers.
Exactly.
So it's a time frame to cash flow. Because you're in an unusual situation. It's important for people to realise that, because if I'm talking to a junior explorer on lithium front, I'm talking about revenue. I think I need to slap myself, but because I'm not sure that I'll ever get there. But you built something. You're going to utilise that
and build something bigger.
Right. So, what's your expectation in terms of how long this process takes to get to where show me the money?
Look, to integrate the full circuit is probably another 12 months. But we're building. I mean, this bulk test facility is going to be a big operation in its own right. So what we might look to do is just integrate that into the circuit, and that will obviously get us into production. I'm talking steady state production on the lithium a lot quicker. So, I mean, 12 months in the greater scheme of things is
nothing. I don't mind that. But and in terms of kind of long poles in the tent, as it were, it's already. I've been there. It's a fully functioning mine site at the moment. And you've got these big, I think did you call them waste dumps, or do you call them tailings? What do you?
Tailings. Yeah.
It's all sitting on the surface for you. So, in terms of any permitting or licensing issues, are there any?
No. We would obviously have to upgrade our environmental management plan, but we fully permitted, so a full mining license. We could start, extracting it as big as we like tomorrow, the type of thing. So environmental clearance certificates in place. So. Water extraction, power, we all
it's all there.
It's all there. We're done.
So this year, a lot of deliverables.
Yeah,
should be an exciting year from you in terms of advancing the growth component of your story, which is I think was the kind of missing bit.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we went for the name change, because I think people were getting.
Go on, talk about the name change.
Okay,
I need to say now, I really don't care about name changes, but I think they do. They kind of help if a story's been. Lagging a bit, but why did you feel you needed to do it?
No, well, look, we wanted a stronger name. AfriTin sort of represented, obviously. AfriLithium, yeah.
Okay.
No, but Andrada it's more of a generic name, but does have a bit of meaning in that it's named after one of a Brazilian mineralogist who first identified petalite and spodumene that eventually went on to become lithium, and it's a nice sort of strong kind of name, a strong rebrand. Focusing on the future, focusing on what's also very important to us is becoming a sustainable miner of the future, and that's also something that we haven't really touched on. But
what do you mean sustainable? Because I think there's this kind of people are bored of ESG talk from mining companies. When the first 4 pages of a PowerPoint is ESG, you got problems.
Yeah, exactly.
So not talk about the assets or commercial components.
Yeah.
What's important to you, and why is it important to you?
So exactly as you say, everyone talks about ESG, and no one actually does anything about it. Yeah. Another first for us, that compared to a lot of our peers, is that we released a sustainability report. And that basically is a blueprint for how we are going to be not only a miner providing critical metals for the energy transition, but we're going to do it in a sustainable.
What does that mean, though?
Well, that from an environmental point of view, that there's minimal damage to the environment.
How are you doing it before?
Well, no, I'm talking historically. Mines never.
Mines more broadly.
More broadly, but we've put a really strong component and a really strong team of people together to focus specifically on ESG. So, like initiatives like that we're doing now, is we've done a baseline assessment of all of the trees, all of the flora.
Oh, flora, fauna.
So for the whole
cheese.
Sorry, cheese. Sorry, it's been a long couple of days already.
No, but why is that for? Because I think like some of the funds last year, and the year before were it's got to be ESG, or social responsibility, which most mining companies, I think, did.
Yes.
Right. Is this for internal reasons so you can get the licenses and premises and make sure your relationships?
No, well, it's
okay, or is it for investors?
No, it's for investors and for being better global citizens. You can't be selling lithium and tin for the energy transition, which is going to be revolutionized and make the world a better place if you're not actually making the world a better place. So, you know, we want to mine responsibly, we want to uplift the communities, and we want to have as minimal footprint on the environment as possible. And, you know, I think that the whole new generation of investors and want to see that. And we, as, you know, as good global citizens, want to actually enact that.
Right, and the reason I'm kind of pushing you, and sorry I'm going a bit cheeky here,
no,
it's just the amount of companies that come in and talk that patois to me and don't mean it is incredible.
No, I get
it's
that.
It's just a document they got to produce. Don't really actually care genuinely.
No.
But you know, I've been to site. I think it was mentioned. And I've been driving around the whole area in terms of Namibia. It's really, really important to be conscious of that and give back to that, and more importantly, that people locally buy into that.
100%.
In terms of what you're doing, isn't it?
100%. 100%. Yeah, it is. And you know, the fact that we actually, you know, committed to producing a sustainability report this early on in our journey, you know, it really shows the commitment. And there's a lot of work and a lot of good work that's gone into generating the metrics for that sustainability report.
So for the people who care, that's happening, and you care, you do. For the people who care about the economics, you're now here telling me about a growth story, which I think you've been hampered in the past historically, you know, in terms of available cash, in terms of the tin market.
Exactly.
So a nice run recently, but only recently, right? And getting into lithium, which is, or making the conscious decision to get into lithium so that you can build this company.
Absolutely.
Good move. Good
Thanks,
to see you, man.
Matt.
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Okay, cheers.
All right. Cheers.